This is episode 105. We've all been there. We are working with a team that doesn't listen, isn't bought in, and we feel our hands are tied. There's no collaboration and people aren't talking. What can you do? Stay tuned to find out.
This is the Elevate Construction Podcast, delivering remarkable content for workers, leaders, and companies in construction wanting to take their next step. Get ready to step out of your comfort zone with Jason Schroeder as he encourages you to do better, live a remarkable life, and expect more. Let's go.
Welcome, everybody. I hope you're doing well and enjoying the content on these podcasts. I've really been excited ever since we got the new intro and outro because when I hear it, it gets me all amped up and I'm ready to go and I talk with more energy and enthusiasm. I hope I don't talk too fast for you, but I really love doing these podcasts and love the feedback that I get. And recently, this last weekend, I took a breakthrough leadership safety course, from Rapport Leadership International, and had to answer this question. Is safety important enough that if by you speaking up, you lost your job, you would still act, you would still take a stand, you would still speak up? And the answer for me is yes. And I really enjoyed that reflection, those questions, the things that they were posing to us, because whether we're with clients or on a project or at work or wherever we are, or at home, are we willing and ready to speak up for safety, for the well-being of other people? And do we have a head-to-heart connection with that? I really enjoyed that training over this week. And also, I'm pretty excited because my kids are going to a youth leadership course at Rapport Leadership International on the first week of November, and they are in for an absolute butt-kicking. I'm so excited. And then the week when they get back, we get to do a field engineer boot camp up in Payson, Arizona. Super excited. So things are going well with me. I hope they're going well with you. And I want to really quickly reach out and say thank you for this question that we received for this podcast today. And it is, how do I build team collaboration, especially when I'm an assistant project manager and not as in control? Now, I'm not going to BS you on this one. I'm not going to, make it seem easier than it is. It can be really difficult to get a project team to go in a direction if the leaders are diminishing leaders, or they're just not collaborative, or they're just not interested. Maybe they're fantastic people. Maybe they're really knowledgeable. Maybe they're really passionate, but they're just not interested in going to be great. They're good at good. They're stuck at good, and good is the enemy of great. And so they're not going to make any progress. I personally know what it's like to have that feeling. And I can tell you in my career, I've dealt with that and moved around into different circumstances. And I can give you a story here. And I'm not going to mention, out of respect for the project, the name, the superintendent. I'm not going to mention any specifics, but I can tell you a story that's very, very much true. In my company, the company where I was working, I knew that there were different types of leaders. And I personally, now in my role as a director, I always want to work with people that want to take the next step. In fact, let me just do a quick sidebar on that. I want to attract the people that will do well with me, and I want to repel the people that don't. Meaning that's really the best definition of marketing, is to attract the people that will connect with you, that you will serve, and repel the people that won't. And that's the base foundation. I realize that my personality, a lot of people won't like my personality, my intensity, my forwardness. Some people will think that me sharing things with other people is bragging, when I personally think it's just scaling up excellence and sharing and giving to people. Other people might be put off with that. So I know that about myself, and I'm not going to get too upset about it. So as a director on projects, I want to work with the people that really want to take their next step. And in fact, when I was doing the podcast intro, where that really nicely voiced lady comes up and says, "This is the Elevate Construction Podcast." It's very energetic. It's kind of over the top, and it's kind of jamming out, right? It's really forward and loud, and it just kind of personifies who I am, right? I want to be out there. I want to be high energy. And there's a point in that intro where it says, with Jason Schroeder, as he, take this journey with Jason Schroeder as he pushes you outside your comfort zone. That's me. That's what I do. I bring out the best in others. And that's my personal brand. And when I, after doing 100 podcast episodes, had to analyze, what is my message? What is my single message? My single message is to do better. I want people to do better. I want people to expect more. I want people to step out of their comfort zones. I want people to go make more money. I want people to think differently. I want. Not everybody wants to do that. And so I'm not a good fit for everybody. And so I had to embrace, this is my brand. These are the people that I want to do business with. So like I said, as a director, I want to do business with people. I want to have people on project teams, on my teams, that are really forward thinking and want to take their next step. Same thing with everywhere I go. And that's the way I've always been. And on this particular story, I was on a project, or I was able to get on a project. I actually politicked to get on a project because I knew there was this fantastic, dynamic, and forward-thinking superintendent. And I would call before that project started, and I would beg him. I'm like, you really need me? This is what I can do. I was selling him. And he eventually got me on that project, and I did a really, really good job for him. And he still loves working with me to this day. He and I talk all the time. It was a fantastic relationship, but he's my kind of people. Always taking it to the next level, always pushing it forward, always trying the new technology systems, learning lean, doing these things, running a good, clean project, super sharp. And so my first bit of advice would be to connect and to gravitate towards people that are like you. And if you want more collaboration, then attract people that are high energy and love to collaborate. And there's nothing wrong with selling that. Just like on these podcasts, I'm selling you something without money. I'm selling you this service on the podcast in exchange for your time. And I have to be respectful of your time, right? But I'm selling it in a way where hopefully it makes you want the content, that you connect with me, we build rapport. Same thing with on your project teams. Try and get on the best teams that are most like you, that are headed in the same direction. I remember giving somebody relationship advice and saying this, that a relationship is worth any amount of sacrifice, any amount of drama, any amount of problems, if you're heading in the same ultimate direction and end goal. And any relationship that isn't heading in the same direction, not even one instance of that negativity, drama, or whatever is worth the time, because you're not heading in the same direction. So getting headed in the same direction with a good team, with the right people, with the right company, and the right circumstances is step number one. And I'll ask you the same question that the rapport people ask me. What are you willing to get there and to be aligned culturally with those people? Are you willing to quit, move, ask for promotions, fit in, help the people you can, be repressed if they're not going to do what you are wanting them to do, or they won't listen to you when you speak up? What are you willing to do? That's the first question to ask. And so let me go back to my little story here. I was an assistant superintendent, and I was then and have always been and always will be probably a little bit pushy. I'm kind of like a bull in a china shop. I'm pushing, nudging, and gently moving things in a progressive and better direction all the time, whether it's through videos or taking things over, or suggestions or podcasts or whatever. Some people don't like that, and I have made coworkers mad in the past because of doing this, and I did that on this project. On that project, we revamped field engineering on that project, and the project superintendent, the general superintendent, allowed me to do this. He was a fantastic guy. We integrated Takt planning on the project, especially through the interiors and with MEP. I was able to take over quite by force the overall coordination and BIM efforts on the project. We co-located modelers. It was a design build project. It was absolutely fantastic. And I was so involved in trying to get the MEP trades heading in the right direction that I also planned the interior scopes and put that all on the Takt plan. And I started getting into the schedule, and I started making a plan for the interiors of the schedule and for the site work and for all of these different things. And eventually, item after item, the project superintendent was like, well, Jason, you've already planned it. You're proving that you're interested. Here, you can take this. Hey, you've already planned it. Here, you can take this. Here, you can take this. And as I showed initiative and I saw a problem and I started doing things that nobody else was able to do, I was able to take over these different scopes, make a change, and do some fantastic things. And when it came to overall running the project, it really came down to me having built trust with the leaders, them knowing my capabilities, meaning they knew my intentions, they knew my track record, they knew that I had the capabilities and the aptitude to do these things, and they allowed me to go do some fantastic things on the project, whether it was from safety or zero tolerance or building out bathrooms inside the site, doing some of these Paul Akers type things, even starting last planner meetings, the weekly work planning meeting. It really came down to who had the initiative, you know. And if you go back to the writing of the Constitution, if you go back to political forums, if you go back to all of these things, there was a person that was ready to go, that brought most of the content, and where their ideas and opinions were brought into the overall structure of what the decision was, because they were prepared, because they were outspoken, and because they were out there taking the initiative and bringing preparation which nobody else brought. And so you can be a leader in any circumstance, even if you don't have a title. And in fact, I just want to mention one quick thing for you. If you ever go to leadership trainings, if you ever put through, some of these military trials, if you ever, meaning these experiments, these war games where you have to problem solve with a team, or you go to Rapport Leadership International, or, any of these team building events where you're actually in an exercise and you have to get out. Let me just give you an example. Let's say you're with a group of people and you're given a little brief that says, okay, there was recently an accident, you're in a basement, there's a gas leak, and these are the 17 different things that are happening. You and your team go figure out how to get out of here and to save as many people as possible. Like, that's a common leadership and team building exercise that people have to go through. And when that happens, there's always a pattern that has to happen in order for that team to do well. Number one, you appoint a leader for the circumstance. That might not be the leader every time. And you start to brainstorm and listen to everybody's opinions and have one person talk at a time. And then you get a consensus with the person that's coordinating and go act on that as a group, meaning everybody's following the same plan. So then it comes down to the PDCA cycle. So you plan, you do it as a team, and then you're like, oh, that worked, it didn't work, let's check it as a team, let's adjust from there and act. Bad teams don't appoint a leader, they don't listen, there's 5 or 6 different conversations, everybody's heading in a different direction, and nothing's working. And so if you're ever in one of those situations, I've just given you the key. In fact, I was this last week with Breakthrough Safety at Rapport. We were going to do a dial pad exercise, and then there was we were on a 2x6 and we had to put ourselves in alphabetical order, but we had to get past each other. There were a number of these exercises, these team building exercises, and I was like, hey, we have to follow this. First, appoint a leader for the circumstance. Number 2, let's get a consensus, hear everybody's opinions, and let's go through our PDCA cycle and fail forward so we can get through this on time. And that's how it works every time. But I'll bring your mind back to this one concept. It doesn't mean naturally the leader of the project, it's the leader for the circumstance. And I first learned this at DPR, a fantastic company. They said, I once had one of my colleagues call me to try and get me to come over there to work for him. And I was like, who's in charge? And he's like, well, we have the normal roles of superintendent, PM, and all those other things, but we work everything as a team. So the person who's best suited to lead that effort or make that decision does, and we volunteer for things and we work together. We work as a true horizontal organization. I didn't even understand it until I went to work there. It was fantastic. The bottom line is the person that is most qualified to lead an effort should be chosen by that team, and the person that is most qualified to make that decision should make that decision. That might not always mean the leader with the title on the job makes that decision. And so you need to find an opportunity where you can best lead that effort or that area of the project or whatever you're discussing or that initiative. And you need to listen to the rest of your team, get a consensus, and go through the plan, do, check, act, or plan, do, check, adjust cycle. The principle here is, if we want to make change, and we are going to change things, we have to understand a couple of things. Number 1 is that there are 3 ways to get people to do what you want them to do. If you are ready for this, and you know what you're talking about, and you've done the research, and you have confidence, then you need to get somebody who you're working through, who you want to change, to know intellectually what the change is all about. Number 2, to feel why it's important. And number 3, to clear the path and make it easy and say, here's my plan. If you don't have the intellectual part covered, the feeling part, the heart part covered, or the path, you haven't cleared the path and made it easy and said, here's the process, here's how we can roll this out, then people are going to be resistant. And when I talk about negotiating, we're not negotiating to manipulate people. But everything in life is a negotiation, and you have to look at it like you are selling them on the benefit of this situation, of this solution, of this process, of this leadership that you want to bring forward by really getting down to what they want, making sure that it addresses their wants and their fears, and really convincing them that there's an opportunity here and that you are confident enough to go do it. Now, hear me on this. Nothing happens without confidence. If I ever work with a client and they even get the hint that I'm not sure that it's going to work or that I don't know what I'm doing, they're not going to hire me. They're not going to hire me. And I have to come across with authentic confidence. And I remember Tony Robbins once saying in one of his Unleash the Power Within events, if we're standing together and my shoulders are farther back and I'm more convinced that I'm right, and we're in that negotiation, we're in that discussion, and I'm more confident I'm going to win out. It really does come down to that. So if you're proposing something to the team or just trying to get them to collaborate, then you have to be confident. You have to have a plan. You have to show up and be ready. There are a couple of other things that I want to talk to you about. You can wait till you're in charge. Meaning if your team, you've tried everything, you've tried team meetings, you've tried negotiation, you've tried the 3 ways to make the switch, you've tried to be ready, and there's a lot of trying here. If I said this at rapport, they'd kill me, because try is a powerless word. If we've tried those things or done our best and taken actionable steps to go get these things done, and this team still will not let you do it, if the leaders are still diminishing your ability to do it, if there's just no way to do it, then you might just have to wait until you're in charge to go do it. Take notes and be ready for that time. Or if you're not happy, you're not living your core purpose, your sole purpose, then you might quit. But the bottom line is you're going to keep pushing. You're going to keep giving it a good effort. You're going to take steps to do your part for these things. Okay. Now let me cover a couple of other things here that might help. Other common methods, and I highly recommend these. Engage in the team meeting. And this is why team meetings are so important. Sometimes people are like, Jason, team meeting, blah, 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 it's just a meeting. No. This is your opportunity. This is the opportunity to correct. This is your opportunity to speak up. This is your opportunity to get consensus. This is your opportunity to get everyone on the same page. If I can get into a team meeting with a group, I can do anything. But if I'm not in that team meeting, then I can't do anything. Think about it. In military warfare, what's the first thing they try and do? They try and take out your communications. They take out your leaders. If they can restrict your communication, if they can take out your phone lines, metaphorically back in the day, if they can restrict your transportation, if they can get you to where you don't have proximity of communication or proximity within your team, they can conquer you because you're not united. Okay? If you don't have an effective team meeting, that's like Waste and Variation just bombed your phone lines. Like there's no communication now. But if you can get into a good team meeting and you can get everybody talking and you can get trust built and you can go through those 5 stages and you can really get people engaging in healthy conflict in a team meeting, you can do anything. You can decide on new things. You can propose new things. You can propose solutions. You can bring up healthy conflict. You can move your ideas forward. So the first thing is we have to have good team meetings. So if you are an assistant project manager or a superintendent or whatever, and you want greater influence and you want greater collaboration, you have to get people bought off on the concept of the team meeting, get people there on time, and get the leaders to focus on making it interesting and getting conflict and making sure that everyone will speak up, weigh in, and buy in on anything you do. I can do anything if I can get into that team meeting. The other thing that you can do, which I've done over and over again, is to do certain things and then make them successful and let them see. There's no better advertising than results. If I have my functional area on a project and we are jamming with the last planner system or with Scrum or with whatever, and it is working and the trades are raving about it, that's all the more likely others are to go implement it in their areas. Do it yourself, and then you can scale up excellence. The other thing is, if you are doing great things, share videos. Bring those videos into the trailer, into the conference room, in your team meetings, and share those with other people. I remember I started a podcast, and I started doing lean videos in a $450 million a year total annual revenue business unit, and I wasn't asked. And people are like, who's this Jason guy? Who's that? Who that? Hey, lots of criticisms. Nobody likes to see it when people are trying to go, do good things and scale and communicate and share the things they're doing, because people get jealous. But at the end of the day, I would walk other projects, and because I had sent the videos or the podcast or these concepts, I would see and was flattered by the fact that other people were doing these things. So don't be afraid to shoot a video before and after or whatever to let people see these things. And always create a want. In marketing, whether I'm posting on LinkedIn, and I'm not the best at it, but I'm going to be, or Facebook, or online, or on blogs, or on the website, or whatever. If you're like, make a post that says, there's a really interesting method for us to create organizational health, and if you do this, then you will have ... Like if you advertise something in a really boring way, nobody's going to buy it. But if you punch them right in the face with this opening sentence saying, your people are about to leave because your teams are unhealthy, like something that creates a want that's not too offensive, where you can empathize with the listener and you can create that natural want, then you can take that places. And so what I would suggest, if anybody wants influence, more collaboration, or wants to change the team for the better, but you don't have the title, then create an eager want. And most of the time, those are the opportunities where you're going to take it to the next level, because you should be looking for things or opportunities where nobody else can or will do them. You step in because you can and you will do them. You need to be looking for opportunities where other people can't and won't do these things, and you step in and you can and you will do these things, and now you've gone into that position of authority, that position of influence, and you're able to go win and scale up excellence. Now, anybody that tells you you don't need authority doesn't know anything about what they're talking about. Like, people that say it's all influence and no authority, that is the dumbest damn thing I've ever heard in my entire life. It is so stupid, and I don't want people reposting that on the internet. It takes a teaspoon of authority and a gallon of influence to get things done. But without that little bit of authority, it's going to be difficult. You should realize that and do your best to get past it. Once you even have a teaspoon of authority and you use it wisely with your gallon of influence, you can change the world. Most of the time, you're going to have difficulty, though, if you don't have that little teaspoon of authority. So how can you look for an opportunity where somebody else won't do it and can't do it, where they've now authorized you to do it? You have your little bit of authority, and now you go use your influence to impact and to do the great things that you want to do. Okay? So we're making good progress here. What kinds of things can be done as a person who's a leader, who has influence, who has a little bit of authority, but doesn't have a title? Well, let me give you a quote. Simply remember that no matter what your position within an organization, and no matter how old you are or where you live, you have the power to show leadership, and no one and nothing can ever deny you that. So you have to go get it. Are you going to make some people annoyed like I did? Sure. Was the other assistant superintendent very happy with me when I took over some of his scopes? No. Are people always happy that I go out and do a podcast or videos? No. Am I making a difference in life? Yes. Do I have to authentically be me? Yes. And that is the ultimate thing. If you are a driver, a pusher, a disruptor, an innovator, you have to go be that. You have to go be you and vulnerably tell people and explain to people who you are so that they can accept you, and hopefully you can make progress. So here's the key concept. You don't need a title. If you question that, go look at DPR. In 25 years, they've become a $6+ billion a year company, and they don't have titles. Sure, they have roles, but they don't have titles. It can be done. Horizontal organizations with smaller, more nimble units will outbeat their competitors. Some of the people that they've beat in the ENR top 100 contractors are these very stable, hierarchical contractors that have been in the business for 75, 100 years, and DPR beat them because they have a more nimble and adaptable structure. So you don't need a title to succeed, and that's been proven over and over and over and over. Again, what you need is the opportunity. You need an opportunity to go do something that others can't do and won't do, and prove yourself, and then scale up excellence and show people. They need to see, they don't need to be told. They want you to show them, they don't want you to lecture them. They want to see the results, they don't want to be told to do the results, right? So you need that opportunity. So there's a fantastic book, and I would recommend it. It's called The Leader Without a Title. It's a little bit goofy, it's a little bit silly. I do love the book. The main character is a little bit quirky, but the message was beautiful and fantastic for me. They give you some acronyms in the book that I'm going to recommend to you. I'm only going to give you a couple of them. LWT, Leader Without a Title. That's what you are, and you have an opportunity to make a difference. Image, that means innovation, mastery, authenticity, guts, and ethics. Human, that means helpfulness, understanding, mingle, abuse, and nurture. KMF, keep moving forward. So let me talk about a couple of these right now. The acronym IMAGE, which stands for Innovation, Mastery, Authenticity, Guts, and Ethics, really stands for what you should be doing, what I should be doing in order to make change and to push and to get people to do the things that they want to do. Now, some really wise colleagues of mine in Lean will always say, you can't do these things until somebody asks you. And while I do agree with that and agree with that style, sometimes this world needs disruptors. So let me talk about this in that light. First, innovation. You as a person need to be innovating and creating growth daily, reading, learning, doing trainings, ready to improve yourself. Mastery. You commit to mastering your assignments, your discipline, and everything through constant improvement so that the people around you will trust you and will trust your experience, your track record, your authenticity, your intentions to let you go do improvements within the team as a horizontal, non-hierarchical member. Authenticity. This is key if you want to communicate to other people and not rub them the wrong way. The more that you can show vulnerability and be yourself and explain to people why you're doing the things you're doing, the farther off you will go. Guts or courage. Having the courage to do things and the confidence to say, I'll take this, and to go do it in your innovative way, and to have the courage to get past your fear and to go do these things is absolutely crucial to you doing the improvements and to having influence and to getting your team to higher levels of achievement. Ethics, doing what is right and staying true to your values. If people always know where you stand, if they can say something like, I'm not going to ask Jason because I already know what he's going to say, then they know where you're headed and they're more readily willing to let you try things. Or conversely, they might not be. They're like, I know where Jason stands on this. I don't want to go in that direction. I'm not going to ask him, right? So if you can remember that acronym IMAGE, innovate, master, have authenticity through vulnerability, have guts or courage, and always do the right thing and have ethics, then you can work on you to be the kind of person that you need to make change, even if you don't have a title. Now, here's the next one. The acronym, and I've distilled these down. There's a number of acronyms in the book. I highly recommend that you read it. The other acronym is HUMAN. Number 1, always be helpful. Why are you doing this? Make sure you're doing this to add value to others first. Number 2, understand the concerns of others. If you really make sure you're listening and you're building a consensus and you get other people listened to, they will be more willing to go along with you and let you have influence. Number 3, mingle. Network and engage with people at all levels. Don't try and shove things down people's throats. Make sure you're building relationships as you go. Amuse. Make sure that the things you're trying have a benefit, that they're not going to burden them. They're not going to keep them later at work. It's not going to be difficult, that it is going to improve some aspect of the team or life or performance, and that we can do this and make it exciting and fun. Get the engagement of the team. And then the last one, number 5, nurture. People feel valued after each engagement where you nurture their ideas, care about them, and they know you're giving to them. So remember, human. Be helpful, be understanding, mingle with others, make it amusing, and nurture those relationships. I've now given you the acronym IMAGE, which is what can you do, and the acronym HUMAN, which is how can you act with your team that will allow you to step into the team and do more things with that team, gain trust, and take advantage of opportunities. Because the current condition is people might feel stuck. They feel like they don't have influence. They feel like they don't have authority. It can seem hard to get the group to go along with your ideas. Maybe the team doesn't talk too much, right? And so the challenge I would give you is to make a list of things you want to do with that team. Distill it down into what others won't do and can't do. Then take that list and pare it down and only select the ones that give to humanity, to the project, to others, to the team, to the owner, that aren't selfish. And then go use these 2 acronyms, IMAGE and HUMAN. Go give it hell, make it happen, and share the success and videotape it or share it or explain it or let people see it or tour people through or walk them through your area. And once they see the success and you've addressed their concerns and they feel listened to, you can share the results and scale. Now, I may have wasted your time on this. Maybe somebody's just saying, no, Jason, I don't want to make massive changes in a team. I just want to get them to collaborate. Let me go back to the team meeting. If you can get the project team bought off on the team meeting, be there on time, phones off, computers down, engaging in healthy conflict, then you can get them to do anything. You can increase collaboration. You can adjust the agenda. In fact, when you start the meeting with a lightning round, and go back to one of my other podcasts about team meetings, if you do a lightning round and then you end it with a plus delta, how can we make this team better? You can get that team collaborating in ways that you've never before seen. And the tricks of the trade are to get them there on time, get them paying attention, get them to weigh in with the lightning round, and then improve the meeting and the agenda, what we cover through the plus delta. If I could get into a team meeting, I could get any team to higher levels of collaboration, and I could get anything done because I'm in an environment where we can succeed. And as soon as you're out of the team meeting, and let's say there's a grumpy super, or this person over here that doesn't like to talk, and they always have an RBF, you know what I'm talking about, and you don't want to approach them, then it can seem impossible. It's like trying to push a rope. But if you can get conflict in a meeting and stay with it and have confidence and make it interesting, you can get that team to head in beautiful, wonderful directions. So in closing, I hope this helps. I hope this answers the question. Please reach back out to me if it did or it didn't. We'll do a follow-up based on that. But at the end of the day, we really want you to have opportunities to go lead, even if you don't have a title. So go download that book. And if you have any questions, reach out to me at jason@elevateconstructionist.com, or reach out to me on LinkedIn or Facebook or wherever you want. I will help. I will take the time. The vision for this is that you live a more remarkable life and enjoy interacting with your team, and that you have measurable goals, that you have relevance, you know that you're adding value to the team, and that you have personal connection to other human beings on the team. That is so important. On we go.
Please join us next time in elevating the entire construction experience for workers, leaders, and companies coast to coast. If you're enjoying the show, please feel free to share with your construction colleagues and help us spread the word by rating, subscribing, and leaving a review on your preferred podcast listening platform. We really appreciate it. We'll catch you next time on the Elevate Construction Podcast.